Okay, let's go. Okay, we're going to try to tackle today, and I think that will be enough, mitzvah and gimel. With the mitzvah vidui, the mitzvah tshuva, we'll have to see, what exactly this is. And there's a lot of material here in the Rambam. What I'm going to try to do, not sure at all it'll be successful, is some overview of what the Rambam is actually saying, and then to try to compare and contrast what's going on in Minyan HaMitzvos to Mishnah Torah. And I think that will be of great interest, I hope. He shetzivonu lehizvados. Here it says avonus v'chatoim. I'm unclear about that because there's only one word in Arabic. So I'm not sure if you could prefer one over the other, but I'm not clear it's both. Shechotonu lifonav yis'ala. It's a very strange phrase that the mitzvah vidui is from Hashem. And we have no clue where the Rambam is getting this from. I can see, you shouldn't say that it's, the fact that there's smicha b'shas vidui, and let's say it's vidui akorban, that's only a coincidence. That doesn't mean that the vidui itself requires l'fnei Hashem. And the only question you have to ask yourself, is it because we'll see as we go through the Rambam here in Sefer HaMitzvos and in Minyan HaKotzes somehow ties in vidui to korban. And certainly, as we get started, we'll understand. See, the question is, you have now, before this, you have a few mitzvahs. You have the mitzvah of Chatas Kavua, Samach Tes, Ayin, the mitzvah of Oshem Tolui, Ayin Aleph, the mitzvah of Oshem Vadai, and Ayin Beis, the mitzvah of Korban Olav, and then comes Vidui. Okay? So it could be, and especially the Rambam over here will say, and as we go on, we'll see it. It's in the next paragraph, next few lines. V'da she'afilu achatoyim shechayovim aleim elu haminim me'akorbanos and niskoim. He's referring to Samach Tes, Ayin Aleph, and Ayin Beis. That's the minim, as we said, that these are minim which are chayiv, right? She'omo yis'aleh shemi she'akrivom niskapelo, and he's making a very clear statement that the chayvus korban is somehow tied in with kapara. And I'll tell you something amazing. Okay, a person who's chayiv and Oshem Tolui, and Yom Kippur passes. So the Rambam quotes in Perek Gimel v'Cheshkogis that this person is not chayiv korban Osher or korban Oshem Tolui afterwards because it's kvar niskapeh. Okay, so that's what he's talking about over here. That the chefsa of the korban is for kapara. It's just that Yom Kippur does not take the place of Chatas Kavua and Oshem Vadin korban Olav Yored, but it does take the place of Oshem Toli. But he has another sentence after this. Lo yaspik im hakovosam bilti havidui. The korban is not mechaper without vidui. And this is an amazing thing that somehow, as we see, we go on and on, there's a relationship between the mitzvahs vidui and the kaporas hakorban. So much so that the Rambam seems to suggest that this is the reason to put it in Ayin Gimel, right after the mitzvahs of Karbonos and the Machaper, which is an amazing thing. We'll see later in the Rambam that he even goes further, okay? Even goes further. And he says that maybe vidui is not a separate mitzvah. It's part of the mitzvah of Akrobas Korban HaMachaper. And he'll say even later that maybe the mitzvah's vidui is only b'shas Korban. And shlo b'shas Korban, there's no mitzvah's vidui. And you see this clearly also in the Minyan HaKotze, where he says the mitzvah is b'shas Korban and shlo b'shas Korban. And we'll see later, Met Hashem, that the relationship between vidui and Korban in Mishnah Torah is not clear to, let's say, to start off with, okay? But here, the Rambam, the whole side of the Rambam, what he's trying to do is somehow put vidui in with Korban, and the chefzesh of vidui is the machaper, okay? And that's the mitzvah. Let's chaper derech vidui, and we'll see about this more. Let's just getting. Then he says, bedibur. And this is not an isolated phenomenon that the Rambam talks about dibur, about when he's discussing vidui. If you recall, in Shorish Tes, he says also clearly that when he talks about the mitzvahs which require dibur, he talks about vidui there. Okay. Now, here is a very important issue. And the question how you can it. And I'm going to use Kapach's translation because it's probably much more closer to the Arabic. And the Ram says, Be'ez shenoshuv mehen. When one does tshuva, he's required to do vidui. So it's not that tshuva is part of the mitzvah's vidui. It's a t'nai to the vidui, it's a machayiv of the vidui, but it not is all part of the mitzvah's vidui. Okay? And he says, v'zehu havidui. I assume that he's not adding much over here because he said the mitzvah is vadais, but I assume that he's referring to what Chazal call it, so we know exactly what we're referring to. Then, there's a very important thing over here. It says, V'kavonoso sheyoima ono Hashem. I'm having a conversation with the Rabbeinu Shalom, ono Hashem, and what I might suggest, I don't know if I really should, but since the Matiki Hashmua are discussing the nusach of vidui, and this is the nusach of the Kiyum HaMitzvah, so then maybe there be megala something about the mitzvah of vidui, that it's ono Hashem, and maybe that is what the Ram is talking about, lefon of Yis'ala. We're speaking to the Rebbeinu Shalom. We're having a conversation. Very strange. It's a very strange thing, and this is not of what I wanted to speak about. But the Rambam Perek Zayin, if it was tshuva, emesh, or is a meshuka to meruchak. And hayoim, that is korov, yedid Hashem, whatever it is. But it's an amazing thing. The act of vidui after tshuva is a personal discussion between the chayte who's asking for kapara and the Rebbeinu Shalom. And maybe that's lefon of Yisrael. It's a very odd thing. I don't see any other way. Maybe it's not a reason to give an answer, but what you really see over here is that the Matiki Hashmur, the vidui, is on Hashem. Chotosi, Ovisi, Pashati, Upashati, Vyosisi, Kach v'kach. What does that mean? That I have to be Mefarit Techet. That you'll see the Makor is Yerushalmi, Periches Halocha Zayin, Toni, Tzorch Lifroit Es Ma'asav, Div Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, Rabbi Akiva Oima, Ein Tzorch Lifroit Es Ma'asav. My time of Rabbi Yehuda, Ono Chote Ho'om Hazeh Chator Gedola, V'yasu Lehem Elohei Zohov. And the Ram quotes in Luchos Tshuva, Tzorch Lifroit in Perik Beis Halacha Gimel, Tzorch Lifroit Achet Shenema Ono Chote He quotes this pasuk. And maybe this also is part, the Ram is going to quote a Mechilta, which is, we know as a Sifrei Zuta, which we discussed, the Rambam's calling the Sifrei Zuta a Mechilta. It says like this, Visvade asher choto, Yisvade al chet shechota. I thought maybe that's what the Sifrei Zuta is saying. The Ram quotes this later. Al chet shechota. It doesn't explain what it is, but I assume that's what it means. However, interesting. This is set up before we start talking and learning, just playing what the words mean. Then he says, V'yarech hamaymo v'yivakesh ha'machilusi v'yibezeo inyan. There's no mention over here of Charota ala Ova and Kabbalah Osid, which we know in the Ram and Hilchos Tshuva, that's the showcase of Tshuva, and it's not mentioned here. Rambam, Perik Aleph, Halacha Aleph, Hilchos Tshuva, Vidizem mitzvasei ketzem mizvadim, oimer ona Hashem chotosi avisi, poshaiti lefonecho, vosisi kach v'kach, v'hari nichamti uvoishti b'ma'asai, u'la'olam eini choiz l'dov hazeh, v'zehu ikoi shel vidui. And what the Ram in Mishnah Torah calls ikoi shel vidui does not make it here in Sefer HaMitzvos. Then also interesting, I'm just going through, just before we try to understand what's going on over here. Then he says, V'yarich hamaymo v'yivakesh hamechila. Now here, I'm nervous because I don't think the proper, I think kapach is right, you should probably say kapora. Because the same Arabic word which the Rambam uses over here, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, magfura, the Rambam uses when he's talking about kaporas korban. So I assume you don't talk about mechila when you talk about kapora, so I assume the proper v'yarich hamama v'yivakesh hakapora b'zeho inyan. So it means that if he wants to expand on a simple discussion on Hashem chotosi avisi peshaiti v'sisi kach v'kach, what he's expanding on is asking bakoshes kapora. Interesting, in Rambam and Mishnah Torah, when he talks about expanding, the Rambam says, "V'chol hamarba lehisvados umayich binyan zeh how is a meshubach." The Rambam has a very different opinion of what the meshubach in the mitzvah from vidui is. The meshubach is to be mefaret the chet, to talk more about the Chalota, Boishti, and the Kabbalah Osid. It's a very different graphic description of what Vidui is all about. The Rambam himself is a very big chiddush, you understand, because we don't find the Rambam in Mishnah Torah has the Bakoshes Kapora is Darket Shuv. It's not part of Mitzvah's Vidui. Here, he's putting it as part of the Mitzvah's Vidui. We don't understand how it got there, but it clearly is not out of place. And I'll tell you why. Because since the Vidui is Bakoshes Kapora, that's the purpose of Vidui, so the Bakoshes Kapora is in place, but that it's part of the Vidui itself and not Darkei Tshuva, that is not clear. That's the Rambam in Perek Beis, V'chos Tshuva, L'chadalit, V'darkei Tshuva, Liyos Hashav, Tzayek Tomid, Lifnei Hashem. Lifnei Hashem. B'vchi u'v'sachanunim, but this is Darkei Tshuva. It's not part of Vidui. Here in Sefer HaMitzvos, it's a Marich and Marbe in Vidui. Then he says, Lefitzachos l'shoina, which is an amazing thing. There's no nusach of Vidui midiraisa. And the same way or similar way, the Ram says in Tefillah there's no nusach midaraisa, but a person should be mispalel kfitzachas l'shoina, and that's what happened until Ezra Sefer. And that's the Ram says, ve'in mishneh, ve'in l'hatfilah azeis min ha'Torah, el chiyuv mitzazu kach she'odem mischanem mispalel b'chol yom, the Kivin, and then the Ram says, "Uvinei inyan zeh tipnu kol habrochos v'atfilu v'zon kol Yisrael, shehei inyan kol brocha oroch b'fi ha'ilek." The person who can't say shetehei v'tiyah tfilas Eloi ilgim tfilas shleimo kitfilas bale haloshen hatzacho. Okay. And the person who has a tremendous oratory abilities in general should exercise these abilities when he's being misvad. Okay. V'da, she'afilu hachatoim, shechayom maleim elo aminu mikobonot, hanizkom she'om yis'ala, shemish akviv niskapel, lo yaspik amkavosim bilti avidui. The vidui is ma'akev in the kapolas hakorban. V'omroi daber Yisrael, ish o ish ki yasem mikol chatas ha'odom, limo mal b'Hashem, v'oshmo ha'nefesh hahi, v'izvadu es chatosom asher osu. V'loshen mechilta. Beferish ze aposik in the Chayr, it's a Pirush Makub, v'zvade shechota, yizvade al chet shechota. That's what I mentioned before. Now, let's continue. What I want to do now is slowly but surely wade through the differences between Sefer HaMitzvos and Mishnah Torah, and then if we have time, we'll try to finish this. The one thing a person who's learning the mitzvahs vidui over here in Sefer HaMitzvos, what stands out of the whole discussion is the clear impression that vidui b'shas smicha ala korban is the ikar mitzvah. And that is true because it's very clear that the makor for the mitzvah's vidui is in the Pashas Nosai, which is the vidui of korban. This one's saying. Sorry, noise outside. Yes. Now, it's like this. Therefore, the Rambam's opinion is, and that we pointed out, that there's a separate, Rambam needs a separate limud that is vidui shaloi b'shas korban. And that he'll mention later on, uba'avur shebo zeh hatzivui shehu vizvadoi im chiyuv hakorban shehoya oile b'machshovo she'ein havidui levadoi mitzvah fnei atzmo avul hu me'advorim hanigrorim acha korban. Here, just an editorial. Here, the Arabic word is achak, which the way I interpret it, it's an integral part of the korban. It's part of the mitzvah. Like mora is part. It's part of that korban, but it's not a separate mitzvah. Avo me'advorim hanigrorim. It's ki'ilu in Torah shebiksav, or a Pirush Makubal, or whatever, this is part of korban. V'hutzuchu she'ivarenu zeh b'mechilta b'zeh haloshon yochel b'zman she'mevi'in misvadim. Maybe the mitzvah is limited to b'shas korban. U'minayin af b'zman she'ein mevi'in tamuloi madaber v'yisol v'zvado. Ein mashma vidui ela be'eretz. And that's what he said before. Bavur, again, Bavur shebo zeh hatzivur shu bizvadei im chiyuv hakorban shoye oile b'machshava shein vidu levadei mitzvah fnei atzmoi avhu me'advom ligom hakorban. Okay, now, the Ram Mishneh Torah, I think, is somewhat the opposite. Because you open the Ram Mishneh Torah and Perek Aleph Milchus Tshuva Halacha Aleph, Kol mitzvah shebatera bein aseh uvein lo yisaseh im ova odom al achas mehen bein bezodin bein bishkogo kishe ya'aseh tshuva. It's interesting. Not be'eshe noshuv. When he's in the process of doing tshuva, we'll have to see what those words means. Kishe ya'aseh tshuva. V'yoshuv mechetoi. In that process, chayiv lisvades lifnei hakel baruch hu. The same thing. Again and again and again. Shenema ish o isho ki ya'asu v'izvadu es chatosam asher osu ze vidui dvorim. Vidui ze mitzvah saseh. So it's an amazing thing. It's very different from what he's projecting and presenting in Sefer HaMitzvos. Because what he presents in Sefer HaMitzvos is that the Ikar mitzvah is Vida B'Shas Korban, it is separate Riba Shlo B'Shas Korban. In Mishneh Torah, there's no mention whatsoever of Korban at this point. Which is amazing. The contrast, I think, is certainly striking. Okay? Now, next. That is point one. Okay. And then, if you look further, and we will talk about this a little bit more, he says, "V'chein bale chatas v'ashomois ve'eshe mevi'in korbanoseiim." That what? It's just the opposite. In Mishnah, in Sefer Mitzvahs, we start with the korban and we end off that it applies in general. Here, it's just the opposite in Mishnah Torah. We start with Vidu in general and we talk about something in korban. And when we think about it a little bit more, we look into it, it's not even clear what he's talking about by korban. We'll see that in Mitzvah Shem later. Now, in Sefer Mitzvahs, Bakoshes Kaporo is part of the mitzvah, but Chalot and Kabbalah, Ala Osid, is not mentioned. In Mishnah Torah, we pointed out that the Ikar mitzvah is Chalot and Kabbalah, it's the Ikar Vidui. And the Marich is B'Chalot and Kabbalah, Bakoshes Kaporo. Bakoshes Kaporo is not part of the mitzvah. So we have to understand what happened there. Okay, next. I want to suggest a thesis, and I'm going to try to explain what it means in many different contexts of the Rambam. And the Rambam, Kedalkoi, the Minyan HaKotze follows Sefer HaMitzvos with a different approach to Mishnah Torah. The Rambam in Minyan HaMitzvos is of the opinion the mitzvah is vidui. And that's what he stresses in Sefer HaMitzvos more so that you require dibur here, and it shows chi. Lave is absolutely nothing. Okay. Now, let me stop for a second, okay? The problem is, and this basically what I'm doing now is reflecting a letter which my Rebbe, which was published in Iglis Hagrid, in Hilchos Tshuva, a letter which my Rebbe sent to Abinach, his uncle, the Vetter, the Magid Meisharim in Vilna, Menachem Karkovsky. Menachem Karkovsky. The mitzvah, excuse me, what he suggested in the letter, this is an old question which everyone deals with, but his answer is very interesting. The Gemara in Kedushin says the Mekadesh Isha Almanasha and Sadik Gomo, and he's a Rasha Choshen the Kedushin. So it means that a person can change from a Rasha to a Tzaddik with Hiur B'Leiv. So what is this issue of Dibur over here? So Rebbe said there are two different issues. Tshuva is B'Leiv. Tshuva can change a person from a tzaddik to a rasha. Tshuva can be machshir a rasha for edus. However, a person is chayte. he can be converted into a tzaddik gomer by doing tshuva, but he has to have a day of reckoning for the chet, and he needs kapora. Kapora is vidui, and without believe, there's no kapora. The kapora is kaporas dvorim, as Razal called it, and that's only bepeh. So it is true that Mekadesh Isha, Amanashe Tzadik, Gomo, is Choshen L'Kedushin, but has nothing at all to the issue of Kaporas Dvorim, which is part of Vidu. The Rambam in Sefer HaMitzvos, Tshuva is only the background. It's the stage that I can be misvade. Tshuva is not the mitzvah. The mitzvah is the bakoshas kapor. Therefore, and the truth, in the fact, if you look at the end of the mitzvah over here, let's just show you something here. Ram says, you see at the end, V'loshen sifro, gam kein v'hizvada, ze vidui dvorim, at the end of the mitzvah. What do you mean, ze vidui dvorim? This is referring to the vidui on Kohen Gadol on the Siyam Shaleach. Okay? And this is vidui dvorim. The vidui of the Kohen Gadol, there's no piyut achet. There's no charota. There's no kabbalah al-abo. On Yom Kippurim, the Ram says that the Ika vidui in Perek Beis v'chus tshuva, aval anachnu chatonu. What do you mean, aval anachnu chatonu? The mitzvah is the charota. And Kabbalah, I heard that they say in some poskim on Yom Kippur, be careful to make an emendation into the siddur. I don't know. The Ram says the Ika vidui, because this is kaparas dvarim. We're after the stage of tshuva already. The kaparas dvarim does not require any delineation of any kabbalah al-abo, any charota al-ova. And the Rav said, I think, in this letter to Menachem Karkovsky, he asked a very interesting question. Let's not worry whether it is a mitzvah gufa or not a mitzvah gufa. Can one imagine have a shlichus to do tshuva? So you understand yourself, this is absolutely ridiculous, okay? But then he asks, how is it that the shlichus for vidui dvarim? How is the Kohen Gadol mechaper Hashem kol ha'om? So the answer is that we extricate the whole mitzvah's vidui in minyan mitzvahs. The Ram has extricated vidui from tshuva. Tshuva is the setting, be'eis sheyoshev odem b'chet, but the chefsa of vidui is the kapolas dvarim. And then the Rambam says, in that frame of reference, you can understand very well that as much as a marich and asking for these kapolas dvarim is how is a meshulach. Now, so then we understand One thing is a little difficult. I'm not sure how much. I mean, the Rebbe asked the Kasha and left with Tzorchil mi'ani lahachnis roishi ben aholim. He ends off this letter to Nachakovsky. He says, I don't understand one line, the Rambam at the end of Perek Gimel, Ma'aseh Korbanos, where the Rambam, when you're misvad on a korban, you say, Vani chazalti b'tshuva. See, he assumes that it's part of the Ikanusach, not a statement, because kol misvade v'eino chayze b'tshuva k'toy v'sheretz b'yoda. Okay, that's what he assumes the Esakash. Now, since the chefse shel vidui is the kapor and the kapor is dvorim, the Rambam puts the mitzvah's vidui as being ma'akev, or possibly is being ma'akev in the kapor from korban. V'da she'afilu chatoim shechayim aleim elo aminim, and a kapor is this korban shomi yis'ale shemi shekriv niskapeloi hine lo yaspik loi im akavosim bilti avid v'om yis'ale v'chule. Davar Yisrael, the Israel quotes the pasuk in Nosah. And that's me in Akotzer. That the mitzvah is lizvadas lifnei Hashem mikol chet sheyaaseh ha'odem b'shas kol b'shloi b'shas b'shloi b'zvadas chatos mashas. Mishnah Torah I want to suggest, and I think my Rebbe, if I'm not mistaken, also interpreted like this, that the mitzvah's vidui in Mishnah Torah is together with tshuva. The vidui is an expression of tshuva. And therefore, the ikar vidui is to mevate bal peh what you are going to believe. And that's Chalot ala Ovo and Kabbalah Osid, which is certainly very important to the tshuva process and sine qua non. And therefore, maybe the Rambam usually refers to the mitzvah, and the halachos are usually named after the mitzvah. There's some relationship between the two. And here he calls the halachos hilchos tshuva. And you look in the protei mitzvahs, in the beginning of hilchos tshuva, mitzvah say achas v'hu sheyoshuv hachete mechetoi lifnei Hashem v'yizvada. That's very clear. And maybe this is what he meant, what I mentioned before in Hilchos Tshuva, when he says, Kol mitzaseh v'lo yisaseh im ovo odom al achas men be'bezodom mishkol sheyasek tshuva v'yoshuv mecheto chayav l'zvades. And I would interpret that it's part of the process. The odd thing is that you'll find this also in the Pirush HaMishnah, even though it was written before Minyan HaMitzvos. The Ram Pirush HaMishnah, in Perek Ches V'Yuma, Mishnah Vov, Zechor Klolem Elu, U'smoich Aleim V'hu Im Shogag Odom B'aseh V'lo Yisaseh Im Hizid B'aseh V'oseh Tshuva Miskapelo Miyad. V'Tshuva Hi Sheyizvade Al Chetoi Lifnei Hashem V'yisnachem Al Ma She'osa V'yikabelov Shelo Yaseh Oisei Ma'aseh Le'olam. Exactly what you see in Mishnah Torah. And again, in Mishnah Torah, it's very clear that Chagot and Kabbalah Ketzer Mizvad and Oima on Hashem Chotosi avisi pashaitu leponecha v'sisi kach v'kach v'avini chamti. V'le'olam le'ni choizel l'dov v'zeh v'zeh ika vidui. Then he says in Perik Beis Halacha Beis, Umagi atshuva, hu shiaza v'chete, chetoi, v'yasiru mimachshavtoi, v'yigmo b'libo she'aseh oid, shnemo yazev or rosh hadalko v'goyma, v'chein yisnachem al ova shnemo ki achlei shuvi nichamti, v'yoro v'yodei tulumois shelo yoshu v'zeh achet lo'olam, shnem v'loi noima oid elokeinu ma'aseh yadeinu, v'tzoch lihizvadois bisosov, bisfosov, v'loima inyonois shegoma beliboy. The vidui is an oral expression of the tshuva belief. And again, we mentioned before, the Ram seems to be clear from the beginning of Hilchot Tshuva that the Ikar Tshuva is not b'shas korban. The Ikar Tshuva, you see, the Ikar, whenever I do Tshuva, as the process, I'm mizvadeh. I don't have a korban, nothing to do with korban per se. Now, even more interesting, if you look further in Perek Aleph Hilchot Tshuva, where the Rambam writes v'chein, first you should know that he has a halacha of the mitzvah, then he has the nusach of vidui, then he has, if you look at Frankel's Rambam, for the base in the Ksav Yad, there's a new halacha there. You see the two dots was the expression nu halacha, and in the Ksav Yad at least, the way it was, and there he says v'chein, v'chein. He says, the Lashon is like this: V'chein ba'alei chatos v'hashamos be'esh she'mevi'in korbanisayim al shir gosam o al zdoinon ein miskapel lehem bekorbanos ad she'asu tshuva v'yizvadu vidui dvorim v'chein kol chai v'mises bezdin u'mechui v'malkis ein miskapel lehem misosan o b'likosan ad she'asu tshuva v'yizvadu v'chein achivo v'amazik mimoinoi avo pishishilem loi Mashu hu chayiv eno miskapa ad she'yizvadu. Right? So what does that mean, v'chein? Besides being the opposite of the order of what we're talking about over here, there's an amazing thing. See, if I had been the Rambam and I had wanted a v'chein, which is an equation of v'chein, I would say v'chein mitzvah lehizvadis b'shas korban. The v'chein that he expresses over here is nothing to do with the mitzvah. He's only focusing on the kapora. That the same way in the mitzvah's vidui, which goes together with tshuva, there's a kapora. There's a mitzvah's vidui, which is not necessarily b'shas tshuva, not a mitzvah's vidui, a vidui which you recite, okay, which is a machapir. He doesn't say there's a mitzvah at all. It's only v'chein that's kapara, but not necessarily v'chein that is part of the mitzvah. If this is correct, it's amazing. Now I want to add something to this, and I think it might be just bang the point home. The Ram says here that a person who they bring out for Mrs. Bezdin is ein miskapel lehem b'misoson o b'likoson ad she'asa tshuva v'yizvada. Okay. The Ram says in Perek Yud Gimel Hilchos Sanhedrin Halacha Aleph, rochach mimokom hariga Ke'esa amos, oimeloi hisvado. We tell him to mizvade 10 amos before he gets to the base of skill. Mokum Ariga, wherever it is. Shkein der kol hamumsim, and we say shkein der kol hamumsim mizvaden, chol mizvade yesh ochel grabo. In eno yidei lizvades, oimim loi, emo tehei misosi kaporo, al kol avonosai. So, and that helps. But this is not a nusach of vidui. If someone would say such a thing on Yom Kippur, that's nothing to do with mitzvahs vidui, and it's not Yom Kippur, just in general. The Ram in any place here in Mishnah Torah and Sefer on mitzvahs, there's no kiyum vidui in Teimi Sosi Kaparosi. So if the Rambam is referring to v'chein, the Ram says over here in Perek Aleph Halacha Gimel that there's no kapora in Misa without vidui. So if he's not necessarily referring to the mitzvahs vidui, but there's a kapora of kapora's dvorim, which is nothing to do with the mitzvahs vidui, I could imagine that if I say Tei Misosi Kapora, it should be it should be helpful to that. Derech Agav, I'll tell you this. This is a little bit departing. I recall that the Shiur was over, and they had painted the bathroom on the 4th floor, and the Rav walked in, and with his raincoat or something, I don't know exactly what there, and the paint got on his raincoat. So he came in to the Shiur, we read David Mincha, and he said that Father, Rav Moshe Zichron Livrocha, always taught us to say, so Zayne Kapora. To Zayne Kapora. It should be a Kapora. So I assumed what his father meant is that we derive from Mises Bezdin that any kapora, any einish, any yisurim that one gets is not a kapora unless the person verbally says Zayne Kapora. Okay? But this has nothing to do with vidui. You understand yourself. You see that how, you see some people talk about it, he lived Zayne Kapora. And you say the Yiddish expressions have within them the nucleus of many say the satira. Okay, now, next. Therefore, we understand the vidui in Mishnah Torah of Yom Kippur. It's nothing to do with the mitzvahs vidui. It's a midui of kapara. Havochatonu anachnu. Nothing to do with tshuva. Tshuva, you need tshuva for it, but it's part of the dalki at tshuva that the person goes on and mizvade and he asks for mechila and Yom Kippur. That's in Hiperi Beis Halacha Ches. Avidu shenogu boy kol Yisrael aval anachnu chotonu vu ika vidui. It doesn't mean ika vidui mitzvahs vidui. That's ika vidui Yom Kippur. And there's no mention of Chalot and Kabbalah because nothing to do with it. And therefore, there is an element of Midaka Tshuva Yos Hashov Tzorik Lifnei Hashem Bechir V'Tachnunim. Afal Pi Tshuva is Baseris Yimei Tshuva V'Yom Kippur M'Yofa B'Yoseh U'Miskablim. That's a soccer. V'Yom Kippur M'Zman Tshuva L'Chol Yochel L'Rab V'Keitz Mechilas L'Kapor L'Fil Chayom Makol L'Asos Tshuva U'Lizvados. But Lizvados V'Vidu Shnor L'Chol Yisrael, this is whether you're doing tshuva on Yom Kippur, you're doing tshuva on Yom Kippur, I assume that the vidui should be kind of the mitzvah of chalota and the Kabbalah. But if the vidui is a vidui of Kabbalah's dvar, it has whole different categories. Now, let's continue. So this, I think, is like the beginning of understanding what's happening here. Now, the Ram continues, V'loshen bechilta, beferish the apostle of Yishlem v'zvada shechota, yizvada achet shechota. I assume this means pirit achet. Then it says, Oleho halachatos kishehoyisa kayemes, or kishehi kayemes, lo mishenishchato. See, here it's an amazing thing, okay? What are we talking about? When is he being misvade? The vidui of korban is only before shchita, okay? So mishenishchato, what exactly are we talking about? But you can imagine, it's a very interesting thing, that the korban could have been mechaper, okay, but it's a prat of nishchato. But what is it? Al chatos, but it's this, he's mimizvade. So what is a vidui that's mitzuf? That's not nishchato. We don't know what this is saying. What vidui are we talking about? Okay. Ein b'mishma. She is vade hayochid el abiyas mikdash, because that is what the Parsha Nos is talking about. Shezeh kosov. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I mean the Parsha Vayikra at the end, where it says v'zvada. This kosik, these psukim are going back to. These psukim, the Sefer Zuta quoting, are going back to the end of Vayikra, in the Parsha Korban Levi'er. V'zvade shechota oleho, omnam bo b'Parshas Vayikra, b'metame mikdash u'kedoshav, u'ma sheniski imoy shebi'alnu, which is referring to all the other cases, like Shvur Sheker, Shvur Seidis, V'nema Shom b'mechilta, which is Vizu Shanachnu Nilbo Mizeh HaKosov, Elochiv Avivu Matam Mikdash Gos Minayin Ato Marbe Shakol HaMitzvos, Tamalim V'davar Yisrael V'zvadu, and that's in Nosser. Minayin Af Mises Ukrisis. So what happens over here in the Sifri, in the Mises and Krisis, is the mitzvah's vidui. In the Chayim Mishneh Torah, it's the Kapara's vidui. Oma chatosam, kol chatosam, l'rabbis mitzvahs loisaseh, ki yasu rabbis mitzvaseh, and that's the big chiddush. That even mitzvah say, which is do tshuva, is miyad ki'ilu the vidui is also, I guess, you need vidui, I guess, for the kapora or whatever. V'shom nema gam kein mikol chatas odom mima shebeino levein chaveru. It's a list in general of when you have to do the mitzvahs vidui. Al gerevois, al gezelois, al loshen hora. Haloshen hora. Limo ma'al l'rabbis hanishma b'shem l'sheker v'amekalel v'oshma nefesh. V'oshma nefesh l'rabbis kol chai v'misa she'izvada yochol af ha'nerogim al pizayim. Here's a very interesting thing. The Zayim came and they said that Imono Yisem, and we killed the Mazimin because they were made that the person's Chayim Misa. Vasisu lekasha zomo lo amalti el v'oshma nefesh what's Elohim shuhu eino chayiv lizvados kishiyeda she'ein lo chet el shuhu the she'idu olav sheker. They said sheker. He's coming to Mises Bezin. They're going to kill him. What should he do? So there's no mitzvahs vidu. You only have to mizvade if you know. See, here's an amazing thing. Let's see now. They asked this kasha. I don't think it's a kasha. Maybe I'm wrong. The Ram says like this. In Perek Yud Gimel Halacha Aleph, he says like this. In Perek Vav, he's like this. Hilchos Sanhedrin, Roch v'mokom hahiga, ke'es amos emelei zvada, v'chulei, afilu yoda ba'atzmo shesheki ido olav, kach hu mizvada. And we don't pass in Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah Sanhedrin, Rabbi Yehuda oimer, im ho yodea, shuhu mizumam, oimer tehei misosi kapora, al kol avonoisai, chutz bi'avon zeh. Omuloi im kain, kol odem omuloi kidei l'naklas atzma. And the Ram and Pirush Mishnah, this is, we don't pass it Rabbi Yehuda. So I would suggest that maybe the Rambam is saying, first of all, there's no stira because here's quoting a Sifri Zuta, and that's where and then there he's passing halacha, but I'm not sure if there's a problem over here. Because what's going on over here is there's no mitzvahs vidui, but what he needs is the misasi kapora. And that's what he says over here. That he says, Tehei Rabbi Yehuda oime im hoya yodea shu mezumam oime Tehei misosi kapola alvoinaisai chutz mi avon zeh. And they said, im kain im kach oime kedei lenakris es atzmam. So the question is there chiv mitzvahs vidui, or he should say something that the korban should be a kapola? But the mitzvahs vidui is an expression of yediyas achet, and there's no mitzvahs vidui. Hine yisbayah lecha ki al kol mine avoynis hagdoyle v'aktanim afilu mitzvasei chayov v'zvadas aleim. V'avu shebo zeh me'atzivui hu v'zvado im chiv v'korban shoyoyle that the mitzvah is only with korban, and the answer is no. Then it says something at the end. Ainli mishma vidui ela be'eretz Yisrael minayin af begolus. This is a pella. I understand it has to do with korban. Once you disconnect it to korban, there's a separate inyan vidui in Eretz Yisrael that you need to bring a raya that in zman teichocha, that when it says in the tale, vizvadu es avoyne v'savoyne avoysom, it's not stam telling you that they had charota, or that they were mekayim the mitzvahs vidui. That's the chor he's learning over here. Ein b'mishvah vidui ele be'ol, it's minayin af begolus, tamaloim vizvadu es avoyne v'savoyne avoysom. V'chein nil oma, l'cho Hashem atzdoko, v'lono boishes haponim. And there's many in that, that's what he quotes, but there also this piyut achete. The amazing thing over here, there's boishes ponim. And the Rambam, it's not only a Mishnah Torah, it's not only Chalota, but there's also boishes ponim. And this is the first time we found boishes ponim in the mitzvahs vidui. And the Rambam then is doing a very odd thing. How can he claim l'cho Hashem etzlocha v'lon boishes ponim that that's the raya from the mitzvahs vidui? It's very strange. בפני עצמו, וכוי ולכויתי על איזה חטא שחוטא, בין בארץ, בין בחוץ לארץ, בין הביא קורבן, בין לא הביא קורבן חי עזרא, כמו שאומר, בזמן חטאו, that's what I showed you, that the vidui of Kohen Gadol is one din with this, and we don't know that in Mishnah Torah. Okay, Atzlocha. We should all be zeicher.